To install an abrasive belt, the first step is going to be to release the air tension on the belt. That takes all the tension from the belt. The second step is to remove this handle and this block. This basically binds this side of the contact drum in place, and it is a quarter turn handle where it lifts up off of the splines, so you can put it in any position you need to make it more convenient for putting it in or taking it out. It is a key slot, so it will only go in one way, and it doesn't necessarily need to go all the way in and bottom out. The trick here is that you don't want this handle to contact this plate. So stopping a little bit short of that and making sure there's a little space is the best way. Once you remove the block at the bottom, the belt will literally just slide on your bottom and top rollers, just like it is here. It's basically going to be just like this. You slide the belt on. You want it to be just inside of this limit switch. This is what detects if the belt is not tracking properly. If the belt comes over and touches this switch, it causes an error and will stop the machine. That can happen if you have defective belts, they weren't made properly, or if there's an adjustment that needs made to the tracking. Once you've slid your belt on and it's more or less in clear of that switch, put your block back in place and then tension up the belt. That pretty much is all you need to do to change out the abrasive belt. There are a couple of adjustments on the contact drum. The first and the most obvious is the belt thickness adjustment. Basically what this handle is for compensating between a thin film back belt and all the way up to a really thick, heavy Scotch-Brite belt. This does have indications. It's going to be hard to film because of the chrome plating, but it does have indications that show you moving the handle to the right lowers the drum down, and then moving the handle to the left moves the drum up. And it is referring to the lower rubber contact drum in that context. So basically all you need to do is, if you go from a super thick belt to a super thin belt, is you may need to adjust this handle appropriately to make sure that the abrasive belt is making contact with the material. The other adjustment would be for the abrasive belt tracking, and that's going to be this handle here. Basically all you need to do is turn this to the left to loosen it up a little. Maybe one full turn is sufficient. You just need it free. And then basically as you move that, there is a rod here that runs all the way across to the other side of the machine and basically sets the offset of that top roller. They're not going to be directly in line with each other. The top and the bottom will be offset a little bit. The top will twist a little, and that's what's going to cause your abrasive belt to track properly. I will show you how to do that actual tracking, and it may be required depending on changing brands of belts, going from Scotch-Brite belts to a regular sanding belt. The belt can be a bit of a variable depending on who you get it from and what it's made of. So you may have to adjust the tracking going between even the same box of belts, going belt to belt. They can be made to where one end is just a little bit longer than the other, and it'll cause the tracking to misbehave. So this adjustment allows you to dial that back in for just about any belt. To set the abrasive belt tracking, the first step is to loosen this handle about one full turn, just so that it moves free in its track. Now I'm going to activate the manual spool button to spin up the abrasive belt. There will be a little bit of noise, but you'll be able to see how I'm doing the adjustments. that point, you can see that the oscillation has been working. The top roller was twisting. You can hear the pneumatic solenoid cycling as it moves. In this situation, if I move that black dial up and around to the left, so moving in an upward motion, it basically drives the abrasive belt from this side towards the other side. If I loosen that knob and move it downward and to the left, it will move the belt closer to me or the adjustment side. Basically what you want to see is what you saw here. The belt should move towards the far side, activate the tracking, and then slowly move back to me. That cycle should continue to repeat at a repeatable pace. There should be a bit of a rhythm to it, as you saw there. It wasn't random, it wasn't rapid fire, it was smooth and repeatable. That would be the correct adjustment you would want to see.
The Beltmaster is equipped with this assembly, which is a floating head. You'll notice that it has a switch right here to turn it off. The only cases where you would want it off is where you really need to grind the snot out of something, you're trying to salvage some material. You're going to want to keep this on. You'll notice that it is set to 5 at the moment. That's about where you want to set it. If you find that you have to adjust it because your shot pressure is a little different, you can turn it up or down and you can see the dial moving. Again, right about 5 is where you're going to have the most success. This feature is going to save you on some abrasive belt life and stuff like that, so that's why we included it in the machine.